Hope you're doing well. Tonight we're going to be painting a super cute Valentine's picture frame just in time for the holiday. So here's what we're painting tonight. It's a slow and steady process. You know, we're doing a nice detailed plaid here. So I sent everybody home with black, white, red, and magenta. So it's up to you if you want to stick with a pink theme like I did, and I'll be demonstrating the red one tonight. So whichever you choose, or you could incorporate all 4 colors. So along with the paints I sent home, I did send home some little heart foamies that we're going to be sticking on a little later. Of course, our frame. And go ahead and grab yourself some paper towels, some brushes, and a water cup, and we'll get started tonight. So this is what we're going to be making. Okay, so first we're just going to be starting by covering our whole picture frame with a solid color. So we'll start with the lighter color, either pink or red, whichever you're doing. You could even get creative and mix the colors, you know, however you feel. The wood absorbs the paint very quickly, so we're able to do our 2 layers pretty seamlessly. And of course I did paint the sides. So you may notice tonight I'm not actually live, this is pre-recorded. That's simply because this is a little bit of a longer process, so I figure what I'll do is have some of the parts that get repetitive a little sped up. So you can kind of pause me as you're painting along and everything like that. And yeah, that should work out good, and that way you're not watching me painstakingly paint Argyle for hours on end. All right, so right now we're just giving our frame a base coat here. Please do still leave comments as you're going. I'll be on hand that night to answer them if you need help or anything like that, or you can always email me. All right. Now it's up to you. I chose this kind of intricate plaid pattern, but you could easily do stripes if you wanted, maybe even a floral pattern if you're feeling that you might like something like that. So it's totally up to you where you go with this. As always, you can find some inspiration on Pinterest or just by Googling some images if the plaid isn't for you. All right, so I'm just painting my base here, being careful around this part because it's a little unforgiving, that kind of plastic shield for the picture. So, like I said, I'm doing red this time. Who doesn't love a red plaid? But the pink obviously did come out very cute. That's the sample I sent home. So if you want to stick with that one, just substitute all of the things I'm doing in red with the pink. All right. I'm reporting from the meeting room today, so you can see I'm here with our Christmas trees that we have just put away from the holiday. So the other rooms were booked up, but it's all good. All right. Alright, so our whole frame is covered now with the first layer of paint. You'll notice it did dry very quickly. So we should also have all the edges covered. I just realized I missed a little spot here. So just go ahead and take a look at all the edges and make sure they're nicely coated. Okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put our second coat of paint on. Alright, go ahead and let your 2 coats of base paint dry just for a few minutes, and then we'll get started on our Argyle pattern. Alright, let's get started on our black stripes. Now this part's going to be a little tedious. Take it nice and slow and steady. You know, the black is a little unforgiving, especially when it hits the wood, because it does suck in the paint very quickly. So just take your time with these. Always start small and then add to them. And you know, worst comes to worst, if you do have to clean up a boo-boo, it just might take a couple extra layers of the red to do so. So don't fret about that or anything. All right, so I'm going to start in the corner here. And like I said, I start with a small stripe, and then I make it bigger as I. So I have a pretty thin detail brush right now. And if you're nervous about accuracy and keeping your lines straight, maybe you make them a little further apart. You know. There's no, you know, no pressure to have everything completely you know, symmetrical and perfectly spaced. All right. So I'm just slowly adding to this. I don't really have any water on my brush at all. Let me make sure I'm not blocking the view. I'm using the iPad tonight, so it's a little different. There we go. Alright, so I have my first stripe there, so I'm basically just going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to keep the black and red stripes about the same size. So like I said, don't fret. Put on some music, relax, take your time with this. Feel free to pause me if you need a break and refer back. Once you get started, you'll kind of get the hang of it and you won't even need me. So like I said, I start thin there and then I just kind of add in a little bit more paint. And I did bring my stripes along the side too, so just to give it that finished look. So there's another little extra step while you're doing your frame. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I definitely suggest a nice thin brush here. If you wanted to, you could take a ruler and measure out your lines if you're a little bit nervous about keeping them straight. Up to you. All right, so I'm just gonna go along and paint these guys, and we'll be on to the next stripe. Okay. Okay, are you tired of painting stripes yet? Well, guess what? You're only half done. All right, so here we are. We have our first layer. I mean, this looks super cute. You could easily keep your frame like this if you wanted to and add in a little detail like the thin lines that I added here. So, you know, it's up to you. I gave everybody plenty of hearts too, so if you have any little areas where it might have gotten a little smudgy or, you know, you're not too happy with it, you could always cover it with those cute little foamy hearts that stick right onto the wood. So it's up to you if you want to continue on and, you know, do the full argyle. I'm going to demonstrate it, but, you know, no pressure at all. I know it's a lot of work and it is tedious. Like I said, this is pre-recorded, so feel free to pause, you know, take a breath, relax, and come back to it, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and start my second layer. They're going to be the same exact width, going exactly the opposite way to form little, like, squares, basically, okay? All right, here goes. Okay, great job everyone so far. That was the most difficult part of it. So hopefully you had fun doing that. It's a little tedious, but once it's repetitive, it's not so bad. So we have our base layer of paint on our frame, as well as the side stripes, just to kind of give it that finishing look. So already coming along really nice. So what we're gonna do, so that we have time to have them dry, we're gonna paint our little hearts that we're gonna stick on the top. So I did love, but of course if you wanted to, I gave everybody some extras, so if you wanted to, you know, use your last name or the, you know, the person's name or something else, you know, they kind of look like little conversation hearts. You could be creative, do be mine or something like that. Whatever you like. I'm gonna do love again just because that was easy for me for Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna do my L here. So just regular paint, very carefully, thin line brush. And then I did like cute little kind of slant lines on the sides. So there's my L. And maybe I'll make the bottom thicker, like it's a little bit of a shadow. Okay, so we'll set that aside, let that dry. Then do my O now. If you have a little mess up, I did give everybody extra hearts, so. Maybe there's a little shadow on the side of the O. Give it that kind of professional look. All right, so there's our O. A nice little V next. Thin brush is definitely going to be the most helpful for you here. I just did black letter, but you could do white, might even work. Whichever you like. I'll do a little shadow on the side of the V. Okay. And do my E. Decorative sides to that too. Okay. All right. So there's our little letters. I'm going to set those aside, let them dry for later. And then we're going to get started on the detail lines. They are thinner, so it's going to be a little less maintenance for you. Let me set these aside. So I did two layers. I did a light pink, so I mixed some white with the magenta if you're doing the pink frame. And then, so I did that in squares, and the last one was the plain white. All right, so we'll go ahead and mix some red and white. Again, we're using our nice detail brush, so get that nice and clean and a nice point for you to work with. And I'm gonna go ahead and, I'll take another brush and mix myself a decent amount of paint so I don't have to keep mixing. So grab some red, put it aside, grab some white. So this is gonna make kind of like a pinkish color for me. Alright. Don't need a ton of paint for this project, you'll find. Alright, so I got like a kind of pinkish, lighter red now, alright? So. Alright, so get a nice, not a ton of paint, just so you have a nice point here. And we're going to start going along the black part, okay? So slow and steady here, okay? Working with like a lighter red, kind of like a pinkish. And we're going right down the middle of our black lines, all right? So just take this nice and slow. If you have paint markers, that might be an idea for you. If you have a steadier hand with a marker, okay? So I'm doing my light red line across the black. Okay. If you get a little clump, don't forget you can just grab some black later and fix it up. I had to do that on mine a couple times, just when I lost my hand. now we're going to do the same thing the opposite way, that lighter red along the solid black, okay? We're getting there, everyone. I know it's a tedious process, but it really is a very nice finished product. So it'll be worth your efforts for sure. So just take your time, use that steady hand. I have faith in you. All right. Every once in a while you might need to, you know, kind of give your brush a little wipe if it's getting a little frayed and thick at the ends. You just wash off some paint and, you know, start fresh just so you have a nice good point. And like I said, if you have paint markers, that might be an option for you to help with this project, just because it does require a very thin line and a steady hand. Okay. This one could almost even be used for Christmas. It's really cute with the red. I like how it's coming out. All right. Definitely give yourself a round of applause if you made it this far. We are at the finish line. So look how nice that's coming out, that nice detail. Your hard work is paying off for sure. So now we're going to go ahead and clean our brush, and we're going to go to just the plain white, and we're going to be doing those lines along the middle of the red. Okay? So as always, you know, a nice fine brush, fine point. And we're going to go ahead and do our final layer of stripes. Cool. Final piece to the Argyle puzzle. Right. This really gives it that great finishing touch. Yeah, so take your time. For some reason the white paint dries faster than others, so you might need to scoop more of it more often than the other colors. We're just going along the middle of that red section. And it's going to look really pretty at the end. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing going the opposite direction, which will be the white stripes going along the middle of the other direction of the red squares. All right, go ahead and get started there. Maybe give your brush a little clean up and nice point to get you started. Okay, we're just going the opposite way now. Right, give yourself a pat on the back if you've made it this far. How cute does that look? Our hard work is certainly paid off here. So let's let our frame dry for a few minutes. So go ahead and pause me. And then let's take a look at our hearts that I gave you. I gave everyone an array. And why don't you start going through and figuring out where you might want to put them, and then we'll attach our hearts, and then we are done. So let this guy dry for a little bit, and then we'll put on our hearts. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our hearts on our super cute frame now. So for this one, I did have a couple spots that overlap, but if you want to put yours further out so you don't block any of the picture, it depends on what picture you're putting in there. If you have like maybe a little boo-boo somewhere that you want to cover up, go for it. So these are just sticky hearts, so they're super easy to put on. Just gonna peel the back. Ooh, geez. Just trying to be careful, mine's still a little tacky. I'm gonna put one here, side of the frame. And then maybe I'll put a little white one next to it. So I gave everybody plenty of red and pink depending on what color theme you did, or if you did all the colors. All right, so I've got a couple hearts there. And then put a little one down here. Okay, so I got that there. And then let's go ahead and put our LOV at the top. So I started with the outside one so I could have it nice and centered. So I did it about there for the L. You might have rotated your colors like this with the white ones. I ran out of the white of that size, so I did mine all in red. And then I'll put the E on the other side. Leave enough room for my O and my V, so they're nice and centered. Okay. All right, just fit. Okay. And then maybe I'll put one in each of the top corners, just the little ones. I give you plenty of little ones, so play around with however you like. One here. Let me know if you are short hearts or if you want to make an exchange. I do have some extra. All right, so how cute did that come out? Thank you so much for painting with me tonight. Here's our pink one. So love to see how yours came out, or if you went a different way and you did something a little bit different. Hope you had fun painting with me tonight. And as always, send me your finished products, Nikki at portjefflibrary.org. That's Nikki. And sign up for Winter Reading Program. The theme is art, and we're raffling off some great prizes. So do join us online, read books, and be entered to win prizes. Great. Thanks, everyone, for joining me, and have a great evening. Bye.